The sting spread across my cheek before my brain caught up to what just happened. The divorce court fell into a suffocating stillness, that kind of heavy quiet where people stop breathing so they don't miss anything. My face burned, but I kept my hands at my sides. No reaction. I simply turned my gaze to her, the woman whose cheap vanilla perfume had been staining my husband's shirts for 8 months. She was fresher-faced than I'd pictured. More desperate, certainly, but clearly clueless. "You're not worthy of him," she spat, loud enough for the whole gallery to lean in. Her voice cracked like she'd practiced the line in a mirror but forgot I'd be this visibly pregnant. 8 months along makes spectators uncomfortable. It forces them to choose a side. My attorney began to rise. I pressed her wrist once. Wait, I could feel every stare. The court clerks. The security guard by the exit. The exhausted people waiting for their own disasters. They expected tears. Or screaming, or at least a trembling lip. I gave them nothing. Because 2 rows behind me, I'd heard a single chair creak. A small, deliberate movement. My husband's lawyer was already rushing toward the judge's bench, whispering fast, trying to contain whatever was coming. But the judge wasn't listening to him. She was looking past me, toward whoever had just stood up. Then she said, clearly, "Bailiff, lock the doors." The bailiff froze for 1 heartbeat, long enough for me to understand this wasn't routine. I said now, the judge repeated. The heavy doors closed with a thud that echoed wrong, like we'd been sealed inside a trap. The mistress glanced at the doors, then back at me. Her anger was already curdling into confusion. I still hadn't touched my burning cheek. My husband, soon to be my ex, was on his feet now. But he wasn't looking at me. He was staring at the same spot everyone else was fixated on. Behind me. His face had drained white. That specific kind of pale I remembered from when his mother used to call. "Your Honor," his lawyer started. The judge raised 1 palm. "Sit down, Mr. Connolly." He sat. Then I heard footsteps. Slow, measured, expensive leather on tile. They stopped to my left, close enough that I caught a scent, cedar wood and old books. A man's voice, calm and low, "Your Honor, I have additional documentation for Mrs. Vance." Mrs. Vance. My name for another 22 minutes. The judge nodded once. "Approach." I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I already knew his voice. My husband's lawyer jumped up. Objection. "We received no notice of new counsel or evidence." "You were notified," the man behind me said. His volume didn't rise, but his voice filled every corner of the room. "Certified letter delivered this morning. I have the signature receipt." Silence. I watched my husband's face change. He was staring at the man now, and I saw the exact instant recognition hit. His jaw locked. His lawyer leaned over to whisper something, but my husband didn't respond. He just kept staring. The mistress tugged his sleeve. "Who is that?" He didn't answer. The judge gestured. "Let me see it." Papers rustled. The crisp snap of a folder opening. My lawyer, Monica, sat perfectly still beside me, but I caught the faintest smile at the corner of her mouth. She'd known. Of course she had. This was her plan. The judge read slowly. 1 page. 2. Her expression never shifted, but her fingers tightened on the document's edge. When she finally looked up, she scanned my husband first, then the mistress, then me. "Mrs. Vance," she said quietly, "are you aware of what's in this file?" I let 2 seconds drain away. Every single word. The mistress laughed. A sharp, nervous bark. Like she thought this was some kind of bluff. "This is ridiculous," she said louder. "She's just trying to." "Ma'am," the judge interrupted. "You will be silent." The laugh died in her throat. My husband still hadn't moved. He was gripping the table, knuckles bloodless, eyes locked on that folder like it was a weapon aimed at his chest. He knew. Maybe not every detail, but enough. The judge turned another page. Then another. She didn't look up. "Mr. Vance," she said finally, "you reported your annual income as $68,000 on your financial affidavit. Is that correct?" His lawyer jumped in. "Yes, Your Honor, I'm asking your client." My husband swallowed. "Yes, and you're seeking sole custody of the unborn child, citing Mrs. Vance's inability to provide financial stability?" "That's correct." The judge closed the folder. Slowly, deliberately, she placed both hands on top of it. "Then perhaps you can explain," she said, "why there are 14 separate accounts in your name containing just over $2.3 million. The courtroom went absolutely silent. I felt my daughter kick once, hard, like she already knew. My husband's mouth opened. Nothing came out. His lawyer shot to his feet. "Your Honor, we need time to review these." "You had time," the man behind me said. 3 weeks, to be exact. I watched my husband's face cycle through denial, panic, rage. He looked at me then, really looked at me for the first time since I'd walked in, like he was searching for the woman he'd fooled, the one who used to apologize when he worked late, the one who believed him when he said the debts were temporary. I stared back. Didn't blink. "There's more," the judge said. She reopened the folder. Offshore holdings, 2 properties under shell companies, and a joint investment portfolio with... She paused, glanced at the mistress. "What is your name?" The mistress had gone rigid. "Brooke. Miss Brooke. You're listed as co-owner on a condominium in Fort Lauderdale, purchased 10 months ago, paid in full. 10 months. I was 2 months pregnant then, still trusting his stories about work trips." Brooke turned to my husband. Her face had crumbled. The bravado was gone. Now she just looked young and stupid. "You said you were renting that," she whispered. He didn't answer her either. I shifted in my seat. The baby was pressing on my ribs, insistent. "Your Honor," I said quietly. "May I speak?" The judge nodded. I took my time standing. Let everyone see the belly, the weight, the effort. Let them remember I'd been slapped 15 minutes ago and hadn't made a sound. "I'd like to withdraw my request for spousal support," I said. Monica's head snapped toward me. But I kept my eyes on the bench. "I don't want his money," I continued. "I want full custody, and I want every account, every property, every hidden asset frozen until a full forensic audit is complete." My husband stood up. "You can't. Sit down," the judge said. He didn't. The man behind me stepped forward, just 1 step, just enough to enter my husband's sightline. I still hadn't turned around. But I knew what my husband was seeing, my father's attorney. The one who'd spent 40 years burying men like this in legal graves they never climbed out of. My husband sat. "There's also the matter of fraud," the judge continued, flipping another page. "You filed for bankruptcy protection last year while concealing more than $2 million in assets. That's a felony," I said, just in case anyone hadn't connected the dots. Brooke stood up. Her hands were shaking. "I didn't know," she said. "I swear, I didn't know any of this." "You knew enough," I said. Brooke's face collapsed. She looked at my husband like she was seeing him for the first time. Not the man who'd promised her a future. The man who'd bought her silence with a condo. And probably a dozen other things I hadn't uncovered yet. "You told me she was draining you dry," Brooke said, her voice cracking. "You said she took everything. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost." "He lied," I said simply. The judge closed the file again. She looked at my husband's lawyer, who had gone very stiff, calculating probably how fast he could run from this disaster. Mr. Vance, I am ordering an immediate freeze on all accounts pending investigation. You will surrender your passport to the bailiff before you leave today. My husband's chair scraped back. Sit down. He stayed standing. His jaw was clenched so tight I could see the muscle jumping. He looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Not anger, fear. You planned this, he said. I let the silence stretch, let him stand there exposed while the whole room watched. No, I said finally, you did this to yourself. I just paid attention. The baby kicked again, stronger. I placed my hand on my belly, feeling her move. You're about to have a daughter, I said quietly, and you'll never even hear her say your name. The judge's gavel fell. One clean crack. Custody is granted to Mrs. Vance, sole and full. Mr. Vance, you will be allowed supervised visitation pending the outcome of the criminal investigation. If charges are filed, she paused, and given what I'm seeing here, they will be. My husband didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there like someone had cut every string. Brooke was already halfway to the door. The bailiff stopped her, said something low. She nodded, crying now, and sat back down in the gallery alone. I gathered my bags slowly, carefully, felt the baby settle. Monica stood beside me, her hand light on my elbow, supportive, not guiding. She knew I didn't need help. Mrs. Vance, the man behind me, said. I turned finally and looked at him. Silver hair, sharp navy suit, eyes that missed nothing. My father's oldest friend, the man I'd called 4 months ago when I found the first hidden bank statement in the garage. Thank you, Richard, I said. He nodded once. Your father would be proud. I believed him. As I walked past my husband, I stopped for just a second, long enough to say one last thing. Her name is Caroline, I whispered, after my mother. The one you said was too involved, too smart for her own good. I paused at the door, one hand on my belly. She's going to teach our daughter everything you were afraid of,